Hello, good afternoon. I hope everybody is doing quite well. My guest, Big Man, will join me soon. So, um, we're going to discuss about sexual consent and non consensual, um, which means no means no, because there seems to be some individuals who are having difficulties or hard time accepting when they are with a woman that they dating or married to, and they they in the process of making out, getting ready to have sexual intercourse, and then in between the time the woman will say she no longer wants to have sex. And then some men are having a hard time stopping. They don't hear no because they feels like, the woman agreed to have sex with them, and then they change their mind in between or during the time that they penetrate. So the fact that they say yes and they say no in between, they still have consent, right? So sexual consent, by definition, is consent to engage in sexual activities. In many uh, judicial judicians, sexual activity without consent is considered rape or other sexual assault. Because even though the woman did say yes, at some point, if she chooses to change her mind, it means no. So you can no longer continue the act. You need to cease the act as to whether or not you going through pain or whatsoever. And then, when you have individual whose intention is to rape you, like we have individual who have date rape. Date rape is, something that people, uses sick, twisted psychopath, rapists, people who do not have any means to, like, they don't have any means to um, keep you safe. They there to harm you. Their intent is to force themselves upon you. So they will drug your drink and rape you or sexually assault you in many ways. Some women get what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm okay.
Thanks for you to join. I just gave definition of sexual consent. So that's as far as I went. Thank you for joining. This is my good friend, my mentor, and my brother-in-law as well. I will throw it back to him for him to, like, he's a counselor too. He's everything. He does so many. He does so many things. But big man, it's been a while, so I will let you introduce yourself and give a brief details about um, who you are.
Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Well, my sister here, she always refers to me as Big Man, and so that's why when you see my title up there, that's what it is. My name is actually Alfred Mack. That's my name, and I am first and foremost a child of God, and secondly, I am a family man, a wife, and I have four loving children. Um, I pride myself on working with the mentally challenged. I work with teens, I work with adults. I cover the gauntlet. I am also a jack of all trades. And some people say when you're a jack of all trades, you're a master of none. Well, I'm a master of all the trades that I would. So, you know, with that being said, there's not too much that I don't do, and that's pretty much that's me. That's who I am.
Yeah, he does massage. He massage too. He does massaging.
Remember I said jack of all trades.
I know, right? Wifey go enjoy it rough. All right, big man. Thank you so much. So, like in terms of sexual consent and non-consensual sex, because there seems to be some men tend to they having problem with sexual consent and non-consensual sex, because some of them argue that they did get consent in the beginning, and then during the act the woman will change her mind, and around that time they cannot stop themselves, they can't prevent what is already happening, and they don't understand how is that considered sexual assault or rape, because they did get consent. So the fact that she changed her mind in the midst of it is not fair to them as a man. So why should they be penalized for committing a crime?
Well, first and foremost,
Hello,
it's
Elisa.
I want to say that communication is a really key factor here.
That's right.
And we can be in a situation to whereas we can be on a date, we can even go back to his place with him, whatever have you, for a nightcap, for a drink,
Mhm.
um and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. However, when it comes down to the actual commitment, to have sex or do the nasty, make love, however you want to characterize it, there's a communication factor, and the communication factor goes right up to the point to whereas, hey, you guys could, you can have, you can both be tipsy, and under the influence, and then all of a sudden you realize, hey, this is not something that I want to do.
That's right.
And if at that particular point in time, the woman, female says to you, look, I'm sorry, I changed my mind. This is not something, that I want to do. It's not right, or whatever have you. That's a no.
You
Okay,
need to stop.
that's an official no, and you don't cross that line. And mind you, folks also get it misconstrued. It's like, okay, well, you're my wife. We made it to this point, whatever have you. No, 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 I'm not going for that. Yes, you better go for that, because trust and believe, there are a lot of cases in this country, where husbands are brought up on charges for raping their wife.
That's right.
So let's not get it confused. You know,
Yeah,
and,
twisted.
and I say that it really doesn't matter whether you're here in the United States. It doesn't matter where you are. Let's not cross that boundary line. The boundary line of communication. If you got to know, it's a no. And it's a no for a lot of reasons. And we may not know what those reasons are, but just because you have blue balls and you're ready to explode, and you're at that point to where you're about to get some, and then all of a sudden, the brakes are put on and you're told no. I'm sorry, you can't cross that line. You can't. For a lot of reasons. Some reasons that you may not know. How do you know if at that particular point in time, your female counterpart, just realized that blood is coming out of her vagina. She just got her period. You-
That's right.
Do you still want to continue? You really
Hmm.
do? I
Someone will say yes, but I don't think they do care at that point.
it's you have to care. You have to give concern. It's not always about you know one of the biggest challenges that men face is leading with this head and not the one downstairs. You
Wow.
know, that's the biggest challenge. And I say that because, if you really want, to test your will and to know, what your willpower is, you understand what I'm saying? You have to be able to overcome what I just mentioned before. And that's blue balls. If that's the characterization, that most people give it. If you can overcome that, then you have a strong will. If you can't, then you're very weak. And that's also mean that you're weak minded as well. And so there's folks say, well, it's a fine line, between consent and consent. No, it's a broad line. It's an obvious line. It's a blatant line. And the blatant line is that communication line. And that communication line is no. And if you cross that line, then you're susceptible to being brought up on charges.
Wow. So it's like, no means no as to whether or not it was said in between or during the act. The minute the woman opens her mouth and says, "No, I don't want to do this no more," you have to deal with the blue balls, because there are some men who say blue balls is like very painful. We do know that it's not going to kill you guys. It's going to make you guys feel discomfort, right? But to avoid that discomfortness, right, the woman has to endure such pain. And it's wrong, because I just feel, and some of them say there are some women they feel will set them up to that point, and then they will say no, even though they're saying no, they really want it.
It's let's not be confused by that. You understand what I'm saying? Because there's a sense of showing, that I'm attracted. You understand what I'm saying? There's a sense of flirting. There's a sense of, cuddling, getting to know, warming up to you, and the whole 9 yards. You know, there, you know, in growing up, one of the terminologies, pardon my expression, but I can't, put it any other way.
Don't worry.
The fact that, growing up, you had, females who were characterized or labeled as dick teasers.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? They'll caress your leg, they'll stroke your penis, they'll do all those things. But now, when it's time, to get busy, let me stick it in or whatever have you, it's like no, 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 no. And guys, regardless,
Hmm.
regardless, okay, when you hear that no, okay, I'm sorry. You cannot cross that boundary line. If you have to go get some Vaseline and play with yourself in the bathroom just to release or whatever and get it out because you can't take it, well, then you better do that because it's better than going to jail.
Mm, 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 mm.
It's better than being brought up on charges. Look, we physically, are attracted to, our counterpart.
That's right.
There's no question about it. And so, if I am, a virgin, I've never had sex before,
Hmm.
but I'm flirtatious and I'm whatever have you, that's my comfort zone,
That's
being
right.
flirtatious, being, cuddly, rubbing up on you or whatever, getting your heart on, because that's me. That's my comfort zone. I'm comfortable with having a hard penis, up against my leg, or whatever have you. That's my comfort zone.
Hmm.
Okay? But I'm not comfortable and I'm not ready yet. You understand what I'm saying? To penetration. I'm not ready. Whether it's fear, whether it's the unknown, I don't know, whether it's, I've heard it's painful, whether it's just all the impurities, that's fine. That's okay. You understand? But guess what? You have to communicate that.
Most definitely. I mean,
You know,
big man, can someone who has had who has been molested growing up as a child or have been traumatized um, during their childhood can have difficulties having sexual intercourse with you know other people, male partners, because growing up they went through that traumatic event. So having
of course, of
such
course.
person close to them, and I mean, in the beginning they might feel they're okay, but during in between, having foreplay and kissing and all the other stuff, can that also cause a woman to like say no, or if the person is feeling anxious?
Well, remember,
Here.
one of the things that I said, it's for a lot of reasons. Whether that reasons is fear, scared, it's the unknown or whatever. Well, being abused, and that trauma is being a part of your history. It's things are uncomfortable for you.
Okay.
So for that reason, in itself, it takes a lot of getting to know a person. It takes a lot of baby steps. It's not something that you just want to jump into, because of, of your history, because of the trauma, whatever. And this is a perfect example of, here you are, you're at a point to whereas, you want to go, you want to do this, to satisfy, your man, but at the same time, this is something that's traumatizing for you. So, if you're at a point, okay, well, you agree, to do it for the sake of the man, and as soon as that penis hits your vagina lips, it's like, no, I can't, because of that fear, it comes back or whatever, whatever. Well, then here we are again, you know, no means no, and this is and this is why communication is key.
Mhm.
We can't go on assumption, that, everything is copacetic because it's not. It's
Freedom.
it's not copacetic at all. So this is why, you just don't, jump into a situation, and open up your legs, and take out your penis, to anybody, who comes forth, for all the disease reasons and all that, STDs and whatever have you. But at the same time, like I said, with sex, communication is key. It's a simple. It can be complicated, but it's not. It's very very simple. It's like, look, I want nothing more, than to give myself to you. However, I've been molested, I've been traumatized, as a child, and that's something that I haven't done since. It's very uncomfortable for me. I'm scared, and that only takes a couple of minutes, to say. However, a lot of people aren't comfortable with talking about it. They're not comfortable. But my thing is, if you're comfortable enough, you understand what I'm saying, to want to give yourself to someone, then that same someone, you should be comfortable enough with communicating about, your reasons of your uncomfortability, your past history, your trauma, or whatever. Because it all has to do, with your sex life, and it's something that, like I said, particularly, with somebody who's been traumatized, it takes baby steps to get to that point to where you're comfortable enough with someone. There was, I think I was in my 20s,
Mhm.
and there was a young lady, and, she came up, I think I just got my new place. And
Okay, so she came to see your new place.
yeah, she came to see me, new place or whatever. But at the same time that she showed up, there was a friend of mine who stopped by, to visit. A buddy of mine, he stopped by to visit or whatever, and she came by, she wanted to give me some in the whole 9 yards. However, you understand what I'm saying, she wasn't comfortable enough with the fact that my buddy was present, even though he was in the other room back or
Yeah, that's
whatever.
right.
She wasn't comfortable with him being present, and then she, candidly, explained to me, it's like, look, I was actually, gang raped. I went to my boyfriend's
Oh
house or
my
whatever,
gosh.
and it turned out, that he had all of his friends in another room and in the house or whatever, and she ended up being gang raped. She couldn't leave. They took her clothes, whatever have you. Boom. It was a real unfortunate situation. So, with that being said, had she not communicated that, to me, or even whether she did or not, but the fact that she wasn't ready at the particular time and
That's
taking it
right.
upon herself to communicate as to why. Sure, I was like, gun hole ready, move whole 9 yards, telling my friend, yo, you gotta go, whatever, you gotta get the hell out. But even after all of that, you know,
She was still not
yeah,
uncomfortable going through it
uncomfortable.
because no.
Later on, boom, at another date, another time, it did transpire. It took place, but that was just me and her in a one-to-one situation. So I understand the trauma, history, but I also understand the importance of communicating. Communicating is valuable.
Most definitely. I mean, and you spoke a little bit of this because when you were like, talking earlier, I was gonna say like a lot of women who has been sexually assaulted or raped, some of them up to date have molested, growing up. Some of them up to date have not been able to like talk about it.
Yeah.
So when they do go through relationship after relationship, from the outside world, other people will see that person as moving around too much, right? Even though they could possibly be that she's not having sex with all the male partners that she's been courting, because when it comes down to having a consensual sex is an issue. It triggers, she gets triggered. And when it comes to, I mean, I will say, being that I'm Ghanaian, when it comes to our community society, some of the men will express that most of us Ghanaian women, even though we would say no, but we will allow them to do it anyway. And I say to myself, not really, because your woman is saying no, your girlfriend is saying no, your wife is saying no. You still go through with it, right? And then if the woman dares, she's married, and she dares goes and make a report about being sexually assaulted or raped, the same society, both genders, will victimize the victim because they will question her. They will call her names. They will say some hurtful things. Why would she do that? Her own family will go against her. The husband's family will go against her, in terms of why would she embarrass the family or her husband? How can a husband rape a wife? Some of them do not understand that a woman, be a married woman, also have the right, if she's not, she does not want to have sex with her husband, she does have the right to say no.
Well, absolutely. As I've stated before, in many instances, here, there are many, many cases to where husbands are brought up on charges, for raping their wives. No means no. It doesn't mean that just because I'm married to you, you own my vagina.
Well,
Hello?
some of them say they do own it
You
because
know,
they're married to you, you know.
first of all, I always say this to folks. and I make it plain, as clear as day. You know, your body is your temple.
That's
You
right.
know, and your body is a gift of life that's been given to you by God. So aside from yourself, the one person who owns your body is God. And you get married, and I understand, the union, and the vows, and I get it, and I understand that, but it still doesn't mean, you understand what I'm saying, that my body belongs to my wife or her body belongs to me. Okay, so you're saying, okay, if I'm married to you and your body belongs to me, and I'm egotistical boxer, so I can just punch on you anytime that I want to because your body belongs to me. I can use you as a punching bag.
I
If I'm
can't say
if I'm a kickboxer, I can use your body as a kicking bag. No, I can't. I don't own your body. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't have the right to abuse you. You understand what I'm saying? Against your will. That's not what marriage is all about. That's not what love is all about. You know, and so when you don't want to cross the line. Look, domestic violence isn't just beating, hurting. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
Domestic violence is also rape. That's an aspect of domestic violence. It's just as it's just as strong, and it's just as heartfelt, as being punched, kicked, or stabbed, as a wife. And so, look, the bottom line is I understand, that in different cultures and different countries, things are perceived, to be this way and to be that way. I get it. However, my thing is God sees no boundaries. He sees no, geographical borderlines or whatever have you. And when he gives you the gift of life, that body of yours is your body and it belongs to you. Nobody has a right to abuse you or to take advantage of you. You understand what I'm saying? If you say no to your husband, it doesn't give him the right to hold your arms down and to pin you down and rip off your clothes. You'll take it anyway. It
that's
doesn't
right.
do that. And it doesn't matter where you are. Because why? Your body does not belong to him. Okay?
Mm,
Now, works two ways. You understand what I'm saying? Because see, you can wake up out of your sleep, okay, and your wife could handcuff you to the bed, and then
mm-hmm.
all of a sudden get a broomstick and shove it up your ass. Excuse my language, but
Mm,
how would you feel about that?
not
You understand what I'm
comfortable.
saying?
Very
So
uncomfortable.
you have to put yourself into a situation. How would you feel under different circumstances? So I mean, we can have some vindictive woman who could, like I said, you could wake up, you can be handcuffed to a bed, and she can do something like that to you as well. How would you feel? So oh, well, I'm your wife, that turns me on. So what are you going to say? So like I said, your body belongs to you, gives no one the right. Doesn't matter if they're your whatever have doesn't give them the right to,
Thank you. So nobody has the right to violate your body,
no, no.
because we do have some men who also have expressed that they have been raped, but
Mhm.
they don't make reports about it because some of them have experienced, being laughed at, the fact that as a man, a woman raped you. But big man, we do have some people, some men, when they get sexual consent, right? They consider that being permanent, permanent commitment, because she already say yes. So if I penetrate and I start thrusting, I'm not going to think about the emotional effect or the physical effect, why she's now saying no. So it's like once they say yes, the yes will stick in a man's mind because every man wants to release, right? So is it Does that play part in some men not hearing the second, the first no after the yes, or some of them are just plainly ignoring the woman telling them no, which means
Well,
no.
here we have, it's a circumstance. Okay, and when I say circumstances, okay, if you have somebody, right, and you consent, and yeah, we're going to do it, and you give consent, and all of a sudden, you realize, that this person, has, a 12-inch penis, and you have a micro hole vagina.
It's not going in. You're going to say
You know what
no.
I'm saying? So, they attempt to put it in, you boom, and it's painful as you know what.
Yeah. So after
Stop,
you said
please,
you
no. You
agree.
understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
The stop, no, whatever, communicate. It was communicated to you. Don't continue to go through with it. You understand what I'm saying? Because more than likely, you're going to rip this woman apart.
That's
You
right.
know? And again, you understand? So it's that it's been communicated to you. So I understand. We agreed, to do this or whatever have you. But I said no, and you continued anyway. You took advantage of my no.
About
You took advantage of my body. You took advantage of me. I explained to you reason why I said no. No is no. I can't take that thing inside of me. You understand? And so no. And so again, we don't like to honor that communication because of our blue ball status, because of our brute strength, because of our ego, because all the hogwash reasons, that a man can get caught up in mentally, and because of that, they do take advantage, they do follow through, and they end up, really, really, traumatizing and destroying,
yeah.
person, for their own immediate gratification.
Well, so then they shouldn't have any problem being charged and going to prison for raping your girlfriend or your wife, because when you agree to something, it's not permanent. You have every right to change your mind at any time. So but the fact that we have some men who continue to like not hear it. Some of them claim that they don't hear the no. They only heard the agreement in the beginning. And then some have a really big issue saying that, but I was already inside her. So I was like, then you have to pull out
Right.
because she said no. So if you're already in, you have to bring it out.
It's there are, instances to where I want to just, go back, a little bit if I may,
Hmm.
because something just came to my mind.
Okay.
We were talking about, women who, see, you
Yeah.
understand, and, they go out on date, with different men, whatever have you.
Yeah.
And they get stigmatized, because they do. First of all, a man, he can date how many other women that he wants, and he's not going to get stigmatized, in a negative way.
That's right.
However, when you have a woman, she goes out and she dates or whatever, whatever. Look, folks, dating and going out with somebody doesn't mean that you're sleeping with them. You,
That's right.
at the same time, you don't even have to date or go out with any man. I said this before and I say this again. It's okay to have associates and friends of the opposite sex. You know,
Yeah, that's
you
me.
know, it, without, your husband or your boyfriend, getting the, preconceived notions that something's going on here or something's going on here. It just happens so, you're one of my best friends and you're a
I
female.
know, right?
And it's been like that, since even before, I got married or whatever have you. And
Yeah.
to your sister. So, with that being said, I don't, I don't get it misconstrued, and I don't even today, because, with my female friends, my wife, doesn't have, like problems, with men, I mean, with women who are friends of mine, the same way that I don't have problems, one of her best friends, back home, is a male.
Right.
You
Yeah,
understand what I'm saying? So I don't have the preconceived notions about that. And I don't, I think it's really wrong, that women get stigmatized, because, they're seen, with different men, whatever have you. Well, a lot of those men could be close friends of hers. You
that's
understand?
right.
And even if they're not, and she's a woman who's finding her way, in order for you to find someone, who that you want to spend the rest of
One.
your life with, you have to date people.
And I'm glad that you brought that up, big man. Your set of your mindset, you have an open mindset, right? um, Within the Ghanaian community society, um, both gender, a lot of them have fixed mindset. All right. And I have been in the situation. For me, I prefer male friends over female friends because, growing up, I came to understand that a lot of females talk a lot and most of them gossip a lot, most of them lie a lot, until I came to US and I realized some of our Ghanaian men, they also talk a lot and lie a lot. Okay. But
Yeah,
you know, I mean, as you mentioned, you and I, we have been friends for over decades now,
yeah,
right? And we talk about anything, everything, and we have boundaries. There is a thin line. You don't cross and I don't cross it, right?
yeah.
And my other friend, guy friend, male friend, Nana Cheme, like I remember before we became friends, I told him that I really like his personality and his sense of humor, and we're gonna be friends. And the first thing he said, he was like, "Listen, I'm going to be straight with you. I have never been friends with any female person unless we have slept together." And I was like, "Well, this is going to be your first, right?"
Yeah.
His friend, and when I said it, he laughed. He thought that I was like kind of like messing with him, and I was like, I'm being serious. I don't feel sexually attracted to you. He's a good looking man, guy at the time because he was young, but I did not have that for him, right?
Right,
um
right.
yeah, and he had a girlfriend and I have to respect that boundary. I wasn't going to do that because I wouldn't like for someone to do that to me.
Absolutely.
So it's like, we started talking, and he was like, he will have some issue, and then he call me. He'll be like, "Okay, Adwoa, you were female. I just need your advice on something." So we will finish talking. I'll be like, "I thought you said you have never been with uh, being friends with a female without." And he was like, "Listen, I spoke too soon. Just forget about it and everything." But then you see some friends and some family member, they see you being friend with a male because you are female, they automatically, have that mindset. Oh, there got to be more going on. All his male friend, with the exception of one, they all thought that he and I was sleeping together. He has not even seen my underwear before.
Right.
But that's the perception, like back home. A lot of people, like when you are female and you move around too much with a male, they will label you,
Right.
even though they don't know what is actually going on. And some people do not have that energy to come and explain themselves, so they will allow people to talk
Of course.
because after all, that's what most people enjoy, just to gossip,
Hmm.
lie, go around and be in people's business, right? But before you get, some people, they want to like see what's up,
Right.
because some of our men don't have, they have poor characteristics, and some of our women have poor characteristics. So you can't just go up about and date anyone or sleep with anyone or marry anyone. You have to know who is best fit for you, even though some people don't make the right decision, but that's on them, right? But it happens a lot. You know, if you're a female, if you're a Ghanaian female, now things are changing. I mean, a lot of people are acquiring knowledge, so they don't assume a lot, but you still have some people who do assume and have misconceptions, you know, that because you move around with a lot of male, so you might be one of those, you know, females that anyone can get with you, and that will not be true.
It's another thing that I wanted to mention that it's we all are different, in every aspect.
That's right.
We have similarities, based on cultures, nationalities, our countries, and things that we're from. But we are also all raised differently.
That's right.
You know, I know, for a fact, that particularly, in my wife's family, values and morals,
It's important.
really, really, it's at the, at its peak, you
That's
know,
right.
honoring, respecting, it's also at the epitome,
That's
who you are, as family members within your family. And I would think that that would also have a lot to do, with the culture, which you're from, from Ghana, and the whole 9 yards, and the body is sacred. The body is sacred. It's not something, that we tinker with. It's not something that we just flash or flaunt. And it's not something that we just give away to any Tom, Dick, and Harry.
That's right.
And I say that because one of the things that baffles me, with the fact that women, in your country, and I hear some of the stories, and the treatment and the way they're treated or whatever.
Dear Lord.
It's when I witness, all the Ghanaian women, that I've ever, come across, and being honorable and
Mhm.
being sacred and boom, it's like, how could you, stoop yourself to the level of dishonoring, such a queen, somebody who is so honorable, come from an honorable culture,
That's right.
honorable history, how do we get here? You
Oh,
know,
some of our men sees um us Ghanaian women as a sex object because most definitely because even the critics, right? They would say, okay, if you knew he did not want to have sex, why would you go in his room in the first place? Why didn't you sit outside? But a lot of people, like, there's so much excuses, reasons, and blaming game giving the enablement when it comes to most Ghanaian men. What most of them gets away with it, right? It's like you enable the foolish behavior, so most of them it has become a habit. And Wifey says, was the people, the church, and family members thought I and Sopho, which is her best friend, was sleeping together because we moved together. But in actuality, we were just friends. There is always a lot of talk when it comes to the opposite sex. So you were female, you're not allowed to be friends, best friends with a male because you both have you carrying different genital. This one has penis, that one have vagina. So the two of you cannot be friends. If the two of you are moving together, going everywhere together, at some point something is bound to happen. So as to whether or not you defend yourself or you don't do you damn, you don't do you like whichever way you go, you're still going to have people talk about it because I experienced that. I remember when I went to Ghana 2001 and 2002, I have some of crisscross some of people who knows her in goes to her church, they came up to me when she wasn't around, because she's mostly with me all the time. So when they see times that she's not with me, they will come and tell me, say the two of them, have something going on, even though I knew it wasn't true, right? But you still have people come and talk about so many things that it's not happening, but they want to disrupt relationship that you have with your family member. So people will make up stories. And there are some that got to my parents, and my parents were bothered about it,
Of course.
even though it wasn't true, because she's friends with the opposite sex. And I
That's
myself,
very
I have
ridiculous.
opposite sex friends. I just love picking guys' mind, because when you have friends, opposite sex friends who are mature, who have knowledge, who are critical thinkers. I'm not talking about the fools, because if you are friends with fools, of course, you also going to be a fool. But it is something that the stigmatism within the Ghanaian society, the name calling, the labeling, and then the enablement with one gender, no, it becomes too overwhelming, because a lot of they support everything, even within our culture. We do have things in our culture that I respect a lot, having morals, integrity, and so forth. But then when it comes to the treatment of women, the disrespect, and the suppression that women cannot do this, whereas you have some women and most men speaking for women, right? And then giving us a duty and responsibility, what we supposed to be doing for our men. You never hear most people advocating for both a husband and a wife to treat each other well, to talk with one another, to care for one another, to love one another. Each time that someone is going to give you advice, take care of your husband, making sure that he gets anything that he wants. You feed him, he gets his sex, make whenever necessary. They don't talk about a woman, where is your emotional level of peace at? Psychologically, nobody have time to care for you, the woman, because the woman, you need to be strong. Anything when the man is struggling, you are the person who is in charge to take care of the man. When your children are struggling, you are responsible for it. So our men, they head of the house, right? However, they also asking to be our first son. So how can someone be head of the house and become our son at the same time? So when they do wrong, we need to treat them like our firstborn. When they do right, they need to be head of the house. So it's like you can have one person be in two different roles, and then where does the woman fit in? So there's a lot of inconsistency and the foolishness. So that's why some of the men, they think that they have the right to forcefully, to rape and sexually assault their female partners, because we've been told that you cannot refuse your husband, you cannot refuse mostly
Yeah,
your husband, because boyfriend girlfriend is between the two of you. But if you are a married woman, you need whatever your husband wants. So it's like when the husband have an affair, cheats on you, it's you, the woman, who will get blamed because you're not doing something in the house.
you got to be kidding me. Well, first of all, what you just described to me is a male dominated, society, culture,
Um,
whatever have you. I'm willing to bet that there are not too many women in, political positions.
mm-mm,
I'm
no,
willing to bet that there are not too many women, who are CEOs and leaders of
no,
business and
it's
companies,
mostly men.
things of that nature. And it's really unfortunate that here we are, in the 21st century, and we still have, male dominated societies. It's almost, it's outdated.
Mm-hmm.
It's traditional. It's traditional to this extent of being ancient. I'll say that. It's a time before electric cars, motorized vehicles. It's a time before the industrial age. We've succumbed. We've succumbed that in so many ways. However, it's unfortunate that we're still dealing with that in the 21st century in many countries, throughout the world. And it's sad to say, that that is the case, because I always like to be the devil's advocate. I always like to be, to point out that other aspect. You know, you, the head of the household, considered, the man, but the man isn't the head of the household. You
Mm.
know what I'm saying? And I say that because, in my household, my mom did everything. My mom took care of the kids. My mom cooked. My mom made sure that we knew how to do the laundry or whatever, And until we got to that point, she took care of those things. My mom was also, my mom worked. She wasn't a stay at home, wife. So she made her contributions, boom. My dad, he went to work, yeah, he paid, bills or whatever have you, but my mom, given all the things that she did in regard to our household, she ran the household. She, did, a lot of, the paperwork that was exclusive, for us and as kids or whatever, whatever. There were many things, and questions that my dad had, about things. Who do you think he turned to? He went to his wife, and he asked those questions, whatever. So in many instances, if you want to put a scale, you understand what I'm saying? You want to take a look, that all the things, that mom and wife does in regard to all the things, that husband does, trust and believe in many and all households, that scale is going to tip in mom's favor. However, she's not given the title of head of household.
That's true.
So a lot of people are confused, and real caught up. I say caught up, in the past as to what is, what really is, and in those places and in those countries where in male dominated societies where folks, men are considered, the head of their household, you know, it's only because, like I said, that's the stigma, that's the aura of the culture, But when you put it all on a scale, you understand what I'm saying? That wife is really running the household. She's really the head of the household. She's the one, who's large and in charge, and especially in those households to where, that woman has to work and still do all those other things.
Most definitely. I mean, I think say men, you know, Ghanaians talk about, women get a lot out of, marriages, but I just feel that, our men get more out of that,
Sure.
you know?
They got
And
it easy.
yes, because sometimes, I'll be like in marriages, you have two people in there. So
Yeah.
we both gaining something. But most Ghanaian people will tell you, especially the male dominant people who always have fixed mindset, closed mindset. We say women are the one that gain in marriages, right? And then they will talk in terms of in order for a woman to have identity. This one kills me, big man, and I want to hear your thoughts in that. That women only have identity when they are married. What? Yeah. So basically, We don't exist. If we are single, we do
So,
not exist.
I'm confused. Back me up a second. You mean to tell me that, a woman is defined by
By marriage.
marriage? That
Yeah, in
that
most people's head, they are dysfunctional head. Some of them will have program and talk about, a woman is basically Ghanaian woman is defined by marriage. So some women get married to have identity.
I always thought, that people were defined by the stages in life. For instance, we're born an infant, we
Yeah,
become a toddler, and then we're a child, then we're a teenager, then we're a young adult, and then we're adult,
exactly.
and then our personality and our identity is defined by, all of those experiences in our life.
Hmm.
We go from the stage of being a child to being a teenager, a young woman. We reach puberty, we begin to have our period, menstruation cycle, whatever.
That's right. Have
We go for the phases of being into womanhood, whatever have you. And your identity is defined by all of those things that, by nature, that you've experienced. Your identity is defined by your family, last name, the experiences that you've had with your family, the culture, things that you celebrate, all that makes you. And
not with many Ghanaians with both genders. Most of them feels that a woman is defined as once they get married. So if you are a single woman, right, and you have children, most people look down on you.
are you
But
serious?
oh, big man, ask your wife. Crisscross Mensa said, people think and expect too much of others. Rather than focusing on themselves and their business, they project their ideas and thoughts on other people's life. I feel these people who talk so much about other people's friendship or relationship with others in an ill manner don't know how to keep opposite sex friends, because probably they are those who open their legs. So you're right, they project their own characteristic on other people. And then Crisscross went on to say, because in some way they end up sleeping with their male and female friends. So they project and assume that onto anyone else who has opposite sex friends. Most definitely, that's right. And then we have Sister Sage Williams. Sister Sage, thank you. She says sometimes people find it difficult to assimilate when they move abroad, especially regarding roles of husband and wife, because there are differences in the roles of men and women in the bigger culture. If a man is asked to babysit, if he has never done that in his life, it can be frustrating. Most definitely, that's true. Hello, Sister Elizabeth.
You
I
know,
know.
I just want to comment. It's like, my thing is, if a husband has a child, then babysitting shouldn't be frustrating. You know,
But they will tell you they don't know how to do it, because Big Man, when you spoke earlier, you said your mom did most everything in the house and she taught you guys how to do your laundry, right?
yeah,
How to cook. Because Big Man, you can cook and I could bite my fingers out of my hands, right?
yeah,
For me, but your mom taught you that. In Ghana, the females are taught to do all the house chore, everything, washing clothes, doing everything. The men, they are taught to be men. They are taught to, just make sure their waist is working. Aside from that, they are not taught to wash their clothes. They are not taught to help with the house chore. They are not taught to be romantic. They are not taught to be intimate. They are not taught to have constructive, open communication. They are not taught to have sweet talk. They are not taught, like, trust me, it's like having most men within our society community. It's like sleeping with a steel pipe. Eh?
That's pretty boring, you know. And not only is it boring, but to be honest with you, it's like, are we talking about men here? Or are we talking about statues? Are we talking
Statues.
about just figures, you know, figures and beings? I mean, look, you know, the last thing I remember, you understand what I'm saying? You know, when it comes, you know, to being a man, it's all about giving your all,
That's
you
right.
know, and it's giving your all to the ones that you love.
That's right.
Okay, because see, here's the deal. The deal is if I'm married to a woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
And God forbid if any day, you know, she goes in, you know, for a checkup for a boom or whatever have you, and then she ends up she's sick and she's out of commission for 3 weeks. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna are you gonna call in, you know, the person that you're sleeping with on the side? Are you going to ask sisters of your wife or whatever, have you to come into your household, you know, and help you with this and help you with that? Or because you know how to do all of these things, you know, it's okay to say, look, sweetheart, I got this. You know, you take your time, you get better. You know, I'm going to take care of you and I'm going to take care of household and everything up under this roof at the same time. You know, that's a man. And
Thank you.
if you can't do that, then you need to reinvent yourself. You know, you need to reinvent yourself for yourself.
That's
You
right.
know, because God forbid if there's ever a day to where your wife is not able, if for some reason by a tragedy in the family, you know, it's like, look, things happen. You know, wives get sick, you know, wives pass away, wives are boom. So what are you going to do? Okay, your wife passed away, right? So within 3 weeks, you got another woman in your household and talking about you're going to marry and this is your girl or whatever. So how does that look? How do you feel? Where's your morals? You understand?
Big man, listen,
So,
listen. Majority of them, that morals is like in the water. Uh-huh. And Sister Elizabeth said, but our African men also can also learn. It's not too late. I so agree, but you can. I will. This is how I see it. For the open mindset African men, yes, they can learn. But the fixed mindset, big men, you know the ones that you share your opinion, they do not want to hear it, but their dumb ideas, opinions, they want to um like try to convince you to support their dumb ideas because they just sit in dark. Nothing penetrates through, nothing goes through here, right?
you mean the idiots?
That's right. I was trying to be nice.
No.
And, and then Sister Elizabeth said, I can even teach some of them. Most definitely, we can teach some of them. That's again, I'm going with the open mind said men, African men, because my husband, you know, he learned how to cook. He was able to do certain things, you know, the easy things you use microwave and stuff. But once we got married, you know, he was able to learn how to cook. Having the kids, when I started going back to work, mom will come over, bathe the children, and then, you know, help him be able to learn how to hold the baby. He didn't know how to do any of that. So he had to like learn how to do all that. And he did learn, you know, where to the point that when I go to work, I didn't have to like worry about them because I know he's capable of taking care of the kids, being home with them. But then you still have some Ghanaian men up to date. They don't do none of that. You still have some Ghanaian men, their wife is as pregnant as they could be, and they on their feet still cooking. Whereas the man is sitting watching their football, basketball games, and other stuff, just flicking channels, right? If the baby have accident, the baby poop, he's sitting there calling the wife to come and do it. The wife might be cooking, you know, or like cleaning, and they're going to wait till the wife finishes before they come down. So it's like for the open mindset African men, sure, they can learn. It's never too late to learn. It doesn't matter how old you are, because anything we don't know, we still have the opportunity to learn. But the fixed closed mindset one, forget it. If you with one of them, you're going to suffer for real until you die.
You know, there's another aspect to that, and the other aspect to that is that if you're living in that mindset, then you're really missing out on a whole hell of a lot.
Yeah,
You know, the bond, you know, that you will develop with your children is going to be limited. You know,
yeah,
if you're not one to change diapers, hold your child, have them on your chest, falling asleep on you, or whatever, whatever, that's all about family. That's all about fun. You
that's right.
know, if you're not in the habit of, you know, cooking is one of the most fun and enduring experiences that there is. You know, being able to create something, you
That's
understand,
right.
share, you know, with your family. So you're really missing out on a whole hell of a lot, you know. And I say to those men who are in that mindset, it's time to reinvent yourself. And
Yeah.
not just because you're living in the 21st century,
Mm-hmm.
but you're missing out on a whole lot. You're missing out on a whole lot of fun. You know, if your life consists of basically going to work, coming home, sitting on the couch, and, you know, just sort of acting oblivious, you know, to all else aside from, you know, instruction and giving orders or whatever have you, then you, you're lost in the ages. You got to reinvent yourself, because if you don't, I hate to tell you this, but folks within that mindset, they don't have a life of long.
That's right. Said no seeker welcome. You definitely right. And you know, Chris Cross Manson said, wifey said, men are taught to not be emotional or feel emotions because that shows signs of weakness. That's what most Ghanaian men have been taught. I just feel like we do have some parents who did not do a good job, right? Because even if they see a man crying now, it's a sign of weakness. So it's like most men who cries will cry in the dark where nobody will see them.
So my thing is, they're taught to hide their emotions,
Yes, don't show
but
it.
they're not taught not to feel.
Uh-huh.
So how can you feel and hide? Where do you think that's going to come out? And how do you think that's going to eventually come out? Because it's going to come out, and it's going to come out in totally wrong way. You
Anger.
know, and
Anger.
so if you're teaching, you know, to hide those emotions, well, God invented tears, and tears serve a purpose.
That's
They
right.
relieve stress. You understand what I'm saying? It's like cleansing the soul and
That's right.
cleansing the body. So
Mhm.
if you taught to hide your emotions, well, guess what? You know, again, you're not going to live a life of longevity. You're,
No,
you're not. And if you do, you know, end up living a life, you know, of extended age, you know, you're going to be what I would call a real you, have you ever seen, you know, one of those old people who are just mad at the world?
grumpy old man.
Well, you know, just you're not happy about anything. You know,
Grumpy all the
you're
time.
mean as hell, you know, and you just boom. So that's going to be your life. That's really going to be your life, and that's just sad.
It is sad, big man, because I can tell you, like, uh, many of Ghanaian men have anger management issues. They get angry quick, all right? Because where do you put when you're not giving the okay or the opportunity to express yourself, even when you're going through pain, right? Or going through difficulties, or like emotionally, psychologically, and you are told, you know, don't show any weakness. You know, as a man, you have to be tough all the time. I'm not sure like whose greatest idea was that, But we all know, most of us know that that's the dumbest thing you can teach any human being, because we do have emotions, we do have feelings, and it's okay for us to share it. And some wives do call their husbands being a pussy, right? Because they show some type of emotion. So it's like you don't want to see that. And then when they channel it on another thing, it's not so great, because that can cost you your life, right? Sister Elizabeth, said, so sad for African women. Oh my God. You know what I was describing before, being pregnant and all the things that us Ghanaian women have been taught, because everything, the women, the children, the females are raised to like making sure that the caregivers, they are caretakers and everything, not with their children when they start having, but for the husband. So the husband, the main thing is that the husband is a financial supporter, right? And then he is going to, produce sperms, each time he wants to do that. That's something. So don't deny him of sex. As to whether or not your bones, you're feeling pains in your bones and everything, do not deny him sex. All right. Because, he's taking care of you. So you don't want to lose that. And some men have taken that all the way to the next level. So if I ask my wife and she's telling me that, honey, I am kind of tired tonight, I'm not in the mood to have it, I'm not going to hear the no. I'm still going to get it anyway. If she's still fighting me, I will just go outside and get somebody else. So Crisscross Mensa said, what about very pregnant and they are still doing hard labor work? Yes, because I have seen some. I know some people who did that. I know someone who had surgery and had to stand on her feet to still cook for the husband. Like, where do we go wrong? I mean, like, come on, learn how to be romantic, learn how to take care of your wives,
You
be
know,
respectful to your wives.
when I say, folks have to reinvent themselves. You know, you know, another topic of conversation which you can have on your show, and I'll be glad to, be a part of. Because reinventing yourself, it takes place in all aspects. For instance, men whose wives are pregnant. There's so many things that you need to learn and know, that should be natural for you, when it comes to a woman, who's pregnant. For instance, let's start with the feet first.
Mhm.
You know, they're on their feet get swollen, when they're pregnant or whatever have you. So rubbing the feet should be a natural thing for you, rubbing your wife's feet. Not only when she's pregnant, when she's not, when she comes in from a hard day's work, just rubbing her feet, pampering and taking care of your wife. You understand what I'm saying? Because see, here's the deal. You know, if it's customary or culturally, sound for your wife to always take care of you, okay, then you have to reinvent yourself by taking care of your wife. You know, you get
True.
to, you know, particularly, particularly when she's pregnant. Another aspect, not just the feet, is also the fact that she has to eat. She has to eat. If she's pregnant, she has to eat. She has to eat. So you got to make sure, hey babe, what do you want? What do you want to eat, or whatever, whatever. You want me to stop? You want me to get something? You want me to boom, prepare something, cook this, or whatever have you? You have to cater to her palate, because it's not just her eating; it's also your child who's eating as well. So you have to take care of that aspect. Okay? You have to be able to say, look, you sit down, I got this. You understand what I'm saying? And by God, if you don't know how to cook, there are things called recipes that there starts with all the ingredients that you need and what you need to do to prepare whatever, whatever. Get your behind in the kitchen and start learning. Okay? If you don't have anybody to teach you, teach yourself. You're of sound mind. Of sound mind. You have to reinvent yourself in all aspects of your life. You're missing out on a lot if you don't. And so like I said, reinventing yourself as a man. If you want to have that as a part of a topic on another show, I'll be glad to partake.
Thank you. Reinventing yourself as a man. Hmm. And that's like, oh Lord. Thank you, big man. Uh-huh. Let me put that. I'm not gonna take big man's words as myself.
And
Yeah.
it's one of those things. People say, "Well, you're a woman. How are you going to have a talk about that?" Well, by all means, trust and believe. Who better than anybody else can tell a man how to reinvent himself than
Exactly. Okay, so we're going to like go off in a few minutes. So big man, thank you for like coming through for this conversation. So what advice you give when in terms before your final say regarding sexual consent and non-sexual consent, no meaning no. If a woman says they agree to have sex with you and in between the act they change their mind, even if you have penetrate and they change their mind, you need to withdraw. You cannot continue, because if you do continue, that is considered rape or sexual assault, and you will spend time in jail if that woman choose to press charges against you as to whether or not she's your girlfriend, wife. They're not just going to look into a stranger raping a stranger, because we do have people that we closer to who are able to um, commit such crime against their own people that they claim to love. Some people use date rape, drugs, and spike your drink. So it's like even visiting someone that you close to, a friend, whomsoever, and they give you a drink, make sure you pour in your own drink, because the human mind, some people do have evil and wicked minds. So women overall, we need to be vigilant and taking care of ourselves. And me personally, if I don't have a good relationship with someone, or like I feel that being in a room alone with a man can lead to something else, I will not enter
yourself in that
the
situation.
place to put
You know,
myself in that situation.
I'm glad you asked. But just to wrap up, first of all, let's begin by, no means no. Okay,
Yes.
that's it. There's no, I didn't hear, I didn't understand what she mean, or oh, she led me on, or whatever. First of all, okay, that terminology of leading you on, you know, it's not a woman's fault. You understand, saying that she has breasts. It's
Yeah.
not a woman's fault that God created her with the figure that's voluptuous and just beautiful and gorgeous. So let's call a spade a spade. You're looking at this woman as a turn on for you, period. Meaning she doesn't have to do anything and you're already turned on. Okay? Let's start with that. Okay? Number one. Number two, because a woman is attracted to you doesn't mean she wants your penis off the back. Okay? She wants it inside her, yeah, because she's attracted to you. Just because a woman gives you a kiss, gives you a hug, or whatever, doesn't mean she wants your penis inside her. Okay? When you invite a woman over for a nightcap after a date, it doesn't mean she wants to go to your bed. She may just want to check out your place, see what you live like, or whatever, get to know you a little better. After the nightcap is over, she's ready to leave. It's not time for you to rip off her clothes or whatever, and force her into intercourse. Okay? Now, if you have a situation to where you have a woman, she agrees to have intercourse with you, but she's never seen your body before. As soon as you take off your clothes, she's seeing that you're hung like a horse, and she knows that her vagina is the size of a pea hole. The bottom line is, if she says no at that point, when you go to try to stick it in or whatever, take it out. Don't put it in, because you're going to rupture her, you're going to boom, you're going to damage, you're going to traumatize. You understand what I'm saying? Communication is the key.
Yes.
Communication is the key factor. Okay? It's not about putting yourself in a precarious situation. It's a fact about letting know. Look, I'm coming over to your place for a nightcap. I'm not sleeping with you. I'm not getting into bed with you. I'm not doing it. We're just going to have a drink and that's it. Okay, anything else? I got my knife or my pistol in my bag and it's going to change. Sam said just to be humorous. But the bottom line is communication is key. Please do not put yourself in a precarious situation because we do have men who are very nice, who are very kind, who are whatever, but when the blue balls develop, they change into monsters. And so, with that being said, be cautious, of who you're with, know who you're with, and know that it's okay to take baby steps into relationship. Please do not feel that you have to give yourself to someone because you're in a situation and it's ugly, and so you just know you don't have to. You understand what I'm saying? A nice kick to those blue balls, stop the show immediately if anything gets out of hand. So women, ladies, please, be mindful. You have the right to say no at any step of the way. Do not feel that you don't or that you have to give in, because of stigmas or certain situations or whatever, because you don't have to. And fellas, be mindful and honor that no. No matter what stage or where you're at, in that circumstance or situation, honor it. Okay? Because see, life behind bars is not a pretty life at all. That's what I got to say.
Thank you, big man. And I thank all of you who were able to tune in. Everyone who contributed with your constructive contribution, those who shared the program. Every other Sunday, I will be able to bring my brother in law, mentor, Alfred Mark Jr., aka Big Man. He's known to me and now my family. I call him Big Man because he's like, he's is Jack in the Box. He does almost everything. So that's where I give him that nickname from Big Man. I just love it. Uh, almost every situation I'll call Big Man and he will be able to like get me out of it or talk me out of it, even when I'm at my angriest. And when you are at your angriest, you are at your stupidest. He's able to like, get me to a level of, reasoning, and he tells you as it is. If you wrong, you wrong. It don't matter how much he loves you. He's gonna tell you as it is. So, Big Man, I thank you very much
You're welcome, sis.
today. Hopefully, by the grace, next 2 weeks we'll be able to come and have more conversation. In terms, and it's also going to be about women in terms of I mean, we didn't go into when a woman is raped and get pregnant, so we're going to pick up from there.
Okay, that's
Yeah, because abortion has also become a certain something that is like brewing in U.S. Everybody have their opinion. I understand from both ends. So we're going to talk more. So you guys have a blessed Sunday. Take care of yourself. Everybody go to church. If you do go to church, please don't skip church today. I think I'm trying to convince myself today.
Godspeed.
Likewise, big man. Thank you. I see you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Baby sister, mwah. Love you, sis. Guys, I see you guys. All right. Oh, happy weekend to you as well, Sister Elizabeth. Thank you. Bye, guys. Take care.